What is going on, guys, and welcome to Dota Chronicles, and today we're going to be doing how to get out of Guardian. Now, this is a question that has been asked a lot, whether in the comments or through Twitter, so I definitely recommend you guys to follow me on Twitter if you want to ask any questions about Dota. If you guys are newer players, I'm happy to answer them as well, or just leave a comment on the video and I will definitely reply as soon as I can. I'm going to be giving you guys some tips that have worked for me on how to get out of Guardian. I will be doing this for Herald and Crusader as well, but first I wanted to start with Guardian, as I feel like a lot of the players get stuck in Guardian for a really long time to switch into Crusader, but these tips should definitely help you out like they did with me. So since overextending is so common in low MMR, you just need to get some Force Staffs and Glimmers to get your teammates out of danger. It sounds pretty simple, right? But a lot of players don't end up doing it. They feel as like the core players are not doing their job because they're dying or they're getting caught, and it's just a very exciting game. It happens to me all the time where I get super excited about getting a kill and I get overextended and then I just die to 4 or 5 heroes who are just waiting to set up on me. But if you're playing support, I feel like it's the easiest way to climb out of low MMR, just because usually core player mechanics are pretty decent in any MMR. When we're talking about carry players and mid players, usually they're pretty decent players, but their supports, they're either not pulling, and it ends up being a big rage situation, because honestly when I play the side lanes, it's very difficult to get your carry to do what is right. So what I end up doing is picking heroes like Dazzle, Omni Knight, Warlock, and Abaddon. Abaddon is more of a position 4, not a position 5, but these other heroes, you can play them in position 5 or 4 and they get a ton of value because they provide great team fight ultimates. They also provide really ease of use, so anybody can pick them up with just a few games. You'll understand exactly what the hero is all about and what you need to get on it. But if you're getting yourselves Force Staffs and Glimmers and you're playing a hero like Omni Knight, whatever teammate you have that overextends, you can save them so easily and it avoids a really big death on your carry or your mid laner, and they're really going to thank you for it, and you're going to be getting so much MMR, because those deaths that would normally happen because you don't have a save or you don't have a Force Staff or you don't have heals. It's also one of the reasons why Treant Protector was played. It gives a lot of armor to heal the towers. Leech Seed is really strong when it comes to healing. It has one of the best teamfight ultimates in the game, and even with the nerfs, but when it comes to the late game, he is pumping you with so much armor, it's gonna stop physical items from killing you or bursting you so quickly that it's gonna give you the turnaround play, and it's one of the reasons why these heroes have been played so much. But personally, I think Abaddon provides a ton of value just like Treant Protector does. If you're an Abaddon player, definitely pick him up in the 4 or 5 position. I feel like he needs a little bit of items to have even greater impact, as he can sustain better through the fights and not have to pop ultimate so quickly. So definitely recommend those heroes to be picked up. Another thing I want to tell you guys is, after consecutive losses, take a break or play the next day. And I know this is really hard to do, as it happened to me for a really long time where I just wanted to keep playing ranked because I don't enjoy playing unranked, but maybe for you guys it's a lot different and you guys can go play some turbo or some mini games in the arcade, or you guys are just fine with disconnecting. What I've been doing is, once I start going positive in MMR where I've gained 60 or 90 or 100 MMR in that day, I will just call it quits for the day and start fresh the next day. Once I lose 2 games in a row, I am done for the day. Either I stop playing ranked or I go play another game entirely, because you're just not in the right mindset to win games. You're going to be tilted out most of the time because somebody was not doing something or you just weren't playing correctly and you guys just lose 2 games in a row. You're definitely not going to get the third, most likely. You're going to end up losing even more MMR. So that's another tip I wanted to give you guys, is just take a break, reset, go eat some food, take it easy and relax and untilt yourself. Get yourself 30 MMR back or lose a further 30. So it's definitely your decision on that. I definitely get out for the day and just finish playing Dota. Another thing I want to tell you guys is, don't flame your teammates even if they're playing really poorly, unless they're just blatantly beating, running down mid and breaking their items and things like that. Even then, it's really not going to help you to flame them. I would just mute them and just give them a report and just deal with it that way, because there's been so many games where my teammates have been insanely toxic towards either support players or towards myself, and it just really kills your mood on wanting to win the game. It kills your drive completely. But there's been a lot of games where if you're that one positive guy, that player who has been either playing bad or is just really tilted and just wants to continue feeding, they have actually turned the game. Once you were nice to them and got them in the right mindset, they were the difference maker in that game, and they ended up winning most of those games for us. They ended up being the best player on the team. They were just really tilted. So definitely don't judge everybody. You don't know what everybody's going through while they're playing a Dota match. So definitely give everybody the respect they deserves. And if you can't handle it, just mute them and just give them a report if they're feeding. But definitely don't get on the mic and yell at them and call them a bunch of names, because it's really not going to help you gain MMR. Trust me, it's better just to ignore them or support them and tell them, hey, I think it's a lot easier if you come mid and help me gank, and we're going to get a lot of kills. And that'll get the player excited, rather than saying, hey, stop coming to side lanes because you are just feeding, you don't know what you're doing, you're a trash player. That player does not want to help you win the game, and you need to get everybody on board, because this is a team game. So those are really big things when it comes to playing Dota, and they're really hard to do, hence why almost no player does it. And for me, for a big part of playing Dota, I was tilting all the time. I would blame other players all the time for my misdoings or my mispicks or my mispositioning, but you got to take some accountability for yourself. Yes, your team is held accountable if they are, but most of the time you are also the big problem, because you can be the difference maker. Don't be toxic. Play heroes that can help your team. Secure the game with great team fight ultimates, or help them when they're out of position with Force Staffs or Glimmer. Like I mentioned, it's going to be a really big help when it comes to climbing out of MMR, because a big key to Dota is positioning. And that's something that comes with time, and it does take a long time to know exactly where you need to be on the map, how to position yourself depending on whatever hero you're trying to play. Positioning is definitely super hard. And till this day, I will still be overextending sometimes and get really excited about getting a kill or getting a rampage, and I'll overextend and lose my life in the process and essentially feed. So play heroes like Dazzle, Omni Knight, Warlock with great team fight ultimates, and you're going to be getting more wins than you thought. And if you're a core player, play core heroes that are broken. Learn to play the broken heroes. So Lena was broken for a while. She still kind of is. Play Meatbows, the Invokers, the Broodmothers. If you guys want to be that kind of player that just cheese picks everybody with like Bat Rider last pick and things like that, learn to play those heroes and learn your matchups and start playing those games. For me, it's just an easy recommendation to play support and win from the support, because a lot of players believe the supports don't do anything. All they do is pull and ward. Supports end up having more impact, especially in the early game, than carries or mid laners or off laners. Sure, your carry ends up winning the game for you in the late game, but your support is the one giving them the vision, putting the items to help them out like Lotus Orbs or Solar Crest, or giving them the heals they need to sustain through a fight, telling them where to go, because you're the tempo controller. You're the ones that are calling for smoke plays. You're the ones popping Mirana ultis to get to the back line. You're the one pretty much the tempo controller with the mid laner, so the carry isn't really the tempo controller for the majority of the game. He ends up calling the shots in the late game. But definitely don't be afraid to be vocal when you're the support. Learn on how to play the lane and how to win the lane and get your team in the right mindset, because I feel like the most important thing about this guide is get your mindset together. If your mindset is strong and set on winning and not being toxic, you will gain a ton of MMR just from that, because when you're in a certain bracket, almost everybody in that bracket is more or less in your mechanical skill and knowledge of the game, with the odd difference of a few players that are just hard stuck because they're toxic but they're mechanically good, but those are pretty few and far between unless they're smurfs. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this guide. A like would be much appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.